how would you characterize the money issue that you were deliberating? Well,
there are 2 or 3 distinct money issues. There's the basic town budget issue, which is how much of the town's budget is represented in trash collection, and then there is the personal budget issue of generally anyone on the street, how much these costs are going to affect them. And then there's the how much other people are going to pay issue. And different people have different opinions about each one of those issues of how much it matters that the town budget is large, how much it matters that they're paying a lot of money, and how much it matters that other people who are paying a lot or a little money. And
you mean in the form of town taxes?
Not necessarily. In the form of one alternative proposed to pay-as-you-throw is strict enforcement of Brattleboro's mandatory recycling policy, and everyone who's not recycling properly will get a fine.
That was one of the possible.
That was one of the things that we looked into, and it's one thing that's been brought up over and over again, because some people feel that they're doing, perfectly fine in their trash disposal issues, and they're recycling very well, but they see their neighbors who aren't recycling very well, and they think that it's obviously a situation where they are paying enough and are doing well enough, but their neighbors obviously should pay more because they're not doing as well. But
so
then,
in some way they feel penalized by having to buy a trash bag when they've been trying.
Right.
Basically.
And then there's the other side of what other people are paying, where people will say, there are people who cannot afford to buy one bag every week, or cannot afford to dispose of things when it costs money. So we need to make sure that their trash disposal is free, because otherwise they'll be choosing between food and garbage disposal.
I've also heard people describe concerns that given that choice they would dump illegally.
And that has not shown to be true in the communities across America, of which there are more than 3,000 at this point that have gone to pay-as-you-throw. There are communities that have had illegal dumping problems, and that's a small minority of the communities that have gone to pay-as-you-throw. And then when they identified where the waste was coming from, they realized it wasn't household waste. So
it was commercial waste?
It was commercial waste.
And people with commercial waste are already in a position of having to pay for a service to have their garbage hauled away.
That's correct.
Or find some other means, or take it to the dump, right?
That's correct.
And pay there.
Yep.
So that's an existing condition here.
That's an existing condition that we already have.
Okay. Are you aware of any towns that instituted pay-as-you-throw and then decided it wasn't a good idea? And
I am not aware of any town that has gone out and started a pay-as-you-throw program in good faith and decided it was a bad idea. I'm aware of there are towns, I believe, recently there was a town in Maine that had a vote for pay-as-you-throw. Or no, there is a town in Maine right now that has instituted pay-as-you-throw, and they're having a very similar vote to the vote that's coming up on the 29th, after pay-as-you-throw has been instituted, as to whether or not it's they will continue with pay-as-you-throw. And
So are they doing this to evaluate how it's going, or are they doing this for some other reason?
For a reason similar to the situation in our town, where some people were dissatisfied with the process.
That's interesting.
And in every situation where there has been, that I know of, where there's been an opportunity to vote after pay-as-you-throw has gone into effect and has been around for several months, people have been happy with pay-as-you-throw, and they have voted to keep it.
Oh. So there's this conversation about pay-as-you-throw, and then there's the process by which we go about discussing it and implementing it, or our decision-making process.
Right.
As far as this conversation about pay-as-you-throw and the decision-making, what was the next chapter in that story?
The next chapter back then was that it was they actually started to get deep into dealing with the town budget and looking at all the different possible budget situations. And as they were trying to hold the line on the budget, they realized that the easiest way to do that was to take a large line item out of the budget, and that was the first reason they looked back into pay-as-you-throw. Since then,
so at that point, pay-as-you-throw looked like a budget management tool for them.
And that's what a lot of people have talked about it that way. And originally, at that point, when pay-as-you-throw was first proposed, Rich Grant was the only person who voted in favor of pay-as-you-throw, and the other 4 members of the select board voted against it. As it came around, and Rich voted for it because it makes environmental sense. And then when they came around and dealt with starting looking at it as a budget issue, Rich actually voted against it because he felt like, I don't want to say what necessarily Rich felt, but he made a point to vote against it because there had already been the opportunity to vote in favor of it, and he had done that. And so a lot of people felt that, because pay-as-you-throw was being dealt with as a budget issue back in 2008, then there wouldn't be the wherewithal to make it be a system that would work. But different members of the select board have really come around to understanding this issue on a very different level than when they started out, and understood that it was what they took to be a budgetary necessity, with a environmental component. Now they understand what's really necessary to make it a viable system that will work with the community and help the environment.
So the conversation about the budget evolved, and that was in the select board's budgeting process.
Right.
And then the town meeting representatives took a look at the same issue.
Right.
And was that something that's pro forma that the town meeting then approves?